What's up, everybody? Chef Marcus Giuliano here. What's happening? Your chef on a mission. So, Tom Colicchio, known as one of New York City's best chefs, most successful chefs. I've been in his places. I've eaten at his places. Does a great job. Nothing personal against Tom on this video. Although Tom and I have had a little bit of a run-in before because I didn't like what he was doing on one of his menus. Mislabeling grass-fed beef. But that was years ago. That was over a decade ago. Let's jump back into Tom's menus now and see what's going on here. So this is more of a truth in menu video. And I like chefs to be able to label the foods properly because certain foods are harvested or grown with very specific reasons. Like the French take their champagne very seriously, and you just can't slap champagne on a bottle of sparkling wine without some resistance from the French Champagne Coalition, the attorneys and lawyers. Kobe beef, on the other hand, they don't really have a great attorney program, and they don't go after their rights for Kobe beef, but Kobe beef is very misled in restaurants. And we're going to jump in today. These are some of Tom's restaurants here. Temple Court, Small Batch, Craft, right? Craft Steak. And let's just go and see what we got here. So, this is Craft Steak. I think he has a couple locations. This is Vegas. I know he used to have one at the casino at Foxwoods. I'm not sure if there's one in New York or not. But as we go into the menu, I was just looking over his menu. On the seafood side, let's go here. Diver sea scallops. All right, so diver sea scallops. It's a very abused term these days. What diver sea scallops mean traditionally is that from November to March or April, when the waters are cold in Maine, there's a diver scallop season. Divers go in, they put their wetsuits on, they go in the frigid waters, very frigid waters, and they hand grab the scallops and bring them up. Diver scallops have they are a luxury item, and they're more expensive because of that reason, because they're hand picking the scallops. Now, it's September 15th when I'm recording this, 2023. Diver scallop season is not in season. There's no season right now for diver scallops. Tom could be using frozen ones, or this could be an old menu that's posted. So use this more as an educational purpose, but diver scallops are not in season. Now, some chefs are saying, and if you read some websites, are saying, well, diver scallops are more of this trade term now, and you can use the term year-round. I don't buy that. I don't like that. And honestly, if you're somebody like Tom Colicchio, you should be setting the precedence here and saying and fighting for those divers that are going there in the cold months, that are getting more money, right? There's a difference between a sea scallop, a dry sea scallop, and a diver scallop. They're two totally different prices, two totally different ways of harvesting. You're not dredging the bottom of the ocean, right? It's a totally different way. And I love scallops. Scallops are beautiful. I love cooking them. I love eating them. But they need to be labeled properly if that's the case. Not saying that Tom's mislabeling this here, because like I said, this could be an old menu. But something that's interesting over here is Tom is a huge food activist. And he's serving Scottish salmon. He should know better than serving Scottish salmon. It is always farmed. It's always toxic. There is no such thing as sustainably farmed salmon. Check out some of my other videos on farmed salmon. There is no such. I've interviewed the expert activists on this. Don Staniford. I've interviewed him many times. Just a new interview on my YouTube channel just recently. Alexandra Morton out of British Columbia. There's no right way to do the wrong thing, and farmed salmon is a big no-no with sustainability. And if you're a chef claiming you're for real food and clean food and real food, and Tom's been fighting GMOs, and he's done a good job. But I think Tom should probably reevaluate serving Scottish salmon. Not a good choice. In fact, out of all the regions, Faroe Islands, British Columbia, the east coast of Canada, New Zealand, Chile, Norway, Scotland has the highest mortality rate in the salmon world, which means that so many fish per 10 die. Like 3 fish out of 10 are dying because the conditions are so bad in Scotland. far worse, not far worse, but worse than the Faroe Islands, worse than all the other places. Even though there is no true sustainable salmon, I talk about this. The word organic farm salmon is a self-regulated term. The sustainability ratings that go into the salmons, most of these sustainability ratings are formed by the salmon farms themselves in their own little coalition, where they're approving themselves for something better than they are. So no go on that. All right, let's jump over to the next restaurant, Craft Los Angeles. Again, Tom has made a big impact. I have his books. He's made a big impact here for food, for real food, for the dining scene. He has Columbia River salmon here. It doesn't say wild, but it should be wild. I'm assuming that is wild Columbia River salmon, and especially for that price tag, right? So, yeah. Here, diver scallops are again. Diver scallops, it's middle of September 2023. This menu could be old. You might give Tom the benefit of the doubt, but true diver scallops, again, are hand-harvested. Tom is careful here where he says Wagyu ribeye instead of Kobe ribeye. A lot of chefs are still saying Kobe instead of Wagyu, and that's a whole nother topic. So good job on that, Tom. Wild mushroom risotto. I don't know what wild mushrooms are in here, but I would hate to find out that there's oysters, shiitakes, creminis, things like that, because those are cultivated mushrooms. I would hope that there's morels, porcinis, things like that, truly wild mushrooms. So I don't know. I just don't know because I haven't eaten here, nor have I spoken to anybody there. But just as a general terminology in my restaurant, I always say exotic mushrooms. I don't say the word wild unless you're truly wild, because that is wild is wild's an upsell. Wild gets you more money. Wild makes you more money, and wild costs more money because somebody's out there foraging them. And that's typically what happens with wild mushrooms. They cost more money. Pacific halibut. Pacific halibut is much better than Atlantic halibut. Pacific halibut is a better quota system. It's much more sustainable. It is sustainable versus the Atlantic halibut. So good job on that, Tom. But you are on the West Coast. You are in Los Angeles, so I'd hope that you're sourcing from out there and not this coast, the East Coast. Small batch. Showcase the best of the Long Island Bounty. I like that. Long Island Bounty. All day. Let's see what's on here all day. Of course, oysters, right? Oysters are popular. Grilled octopus. Let's see. Entrees. Oh, Tom, roast Atlantic salmon. Ouch. Again, farmed salmon. Very toxic, very not good to eat, very not good for our environment. Tom, of all chefs, should know better than serving Atlantic or farmed salmon, or Atlantic salmon, whether it's Atlantic, whether it's the word Atlantic or Scottish or Faroe Island, that's all, or Norwegian, that's all farmed salmon. Anything from the Atlantic Ocean is farmed. There are no true commercial wild runs, and if they are, and exist, they're very, 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 very small and be super pricey. So roast Atlantic salmon, oh man, Tom. Shishito peppers. We have shishito peppers on our menu now. They are in season most of the summer, and they are local from the Hudson Valley. Hopefully Tom's got some local shishitos. That's the only time we serve them, by the way, is when they're in season. Let's see. Menus. Brunch. Brunch here. A lot of the same stuff. Sandwiches, the same stuff. French toast. Eggs Benedict. Pan-seared cod. Shrimp and grits. Roast Atlantic salmon. Oh, a lot of the same items that were on his regular menu. So, yeah. Not buying the wild salmon, Tom. Sorry about that. I'm sorry, the farm salmon, Tom. Wish you had Atlantic, wild, true wild Pacific Alaskan, and of course there's a season for that. So, I know this is a Long Island bounty, so Pacific salmon would probably not fit into your realm there, but there's a lot of great Pacific fish, Atlantic fish over here that could be served. And I see him serving cod on the menu here, and tuna. There's some great catches of tuna out on Montauk and stuff. Some really nice tuna, some albacore and stuff, really nice. And of course the oysters. So, Tom, I think that's all of your stuff. Oh, Temple Court. Here's another one of his, right? Temple Court says. Let's see. Lamb loin, roast chicken, diver scallops again. So what's the chances of 3 of his restaurants having outdated menus from back when diver scallops were in season? I don't know. It could be a possibility. Olive oil poached halibut. Would love to know that is Pacific halibut, where it's a totally different story of sustainability. You want to avoid Atlantic halibut. You really want to avoid Atlantic. Myers is a good brand of beef. Smaller production. I think they do about 1,500 head a week. And Myers, that's a good brand. Snake River is a good brand of beef as well, out there on the western part of the U.S. So yeah. So there we go. There we go. I didn't look at any of the wine or anything. You know, I love wine. Love discovering new wines. But there you go. So, Tom Colicchio. Let's Crafted Hospitality. Tom, I'd like to see you get that farm salmon off the menu. Diver scallops, even though I know that, yeah, it might not be a big deal to a lot of people. People know the difference. I feel as a chef, for me, that I should be protecting the people who are doing the hard work and producing the products or harvesting the products, right? Because it's not easy to put a wetsuit on in the frigid of winter and go and hand pick those. So, Tom, you probably should be leading the way and teaching other chefs about that. And Tom has a very qualified staff, by the way. He has some really good chefs working underneath him. So, if I was a young chef in my early 20s, I'd definitely be looking to work at some of his places and get experience. So, definitely. So, nothing personally against Tom. It's not a personal attack. I just feel that certain figures should be doing a job, a mission and a job, and I know Tom's mission is sustainability. So I'm sure he would agree with me. If he saw this video, I'm sure Tom would totally agree with me that, yeah, you know what? I shouldn't really be serving a farm-raised salmon. You're right, Marcus. Let me work on that. I'm sure he would agree if somebody actually said that to him. So, all right, folks. Check out my YouTube channel, marcusg.tv. Got a lot more stuff on salmon and real food there, plus how to run a restaurant. I've written a couple restaurant business books. Love to help other entrepreneurs, other restaurateurs succeed in their restaurant. That's one of my missions. So check out that. In fact, right back there are some of my books, 50 Mistakes That Business Owners Made. Everybody Still Needs to Eat, which is my book I wrote during the pandemic. And I do wine tours all across Italy and Mexico, mezcal tours in Mexico. That's actually a Mexican vineyard right there in the back. Beautiful Mexican vineyard, El Cielo in Valle de Guadalupe. Headed there in 2 weeks, bringing a small group tour there. We do group tours all over Italy as well. Every region of Italy, very intense wine. We're meeting with the people that are actually producing the wine, the owners of small villages, the real Italy, none of the touristy stuff, nothing like that. We're not going into restaurants where the waiter's standing outside with a sign and the menu, please come in, because those restaurants are all gimmicks, and you get ripped off at those restaurants when you travel to Italy. You have to go on the back streets and down the alleys and into the small villages to experience the real Italy, and that's what we do. And we do mezcal tours in Oaxaca, cool mezcal tours in Oaxaca, and winery tours, and we do Finger Lakes as well. Finger Lakes, a lot of good things happening in the Finger Lakes. And every time I meet somebody from the Finger Lakes that says, the Finger Lake wineries aren't that good, and I start listing off several names, they're like, I don't know about those. Well, they say, I don't know about those wineries. Again, we provide an insider perspective, an industry insider's perspective when we do our tours, these group tours with people, so we're taking you to the good spots that most people can't find. That's it, folks. Have a great day. If you know Tom Colicchio, message him, drop him a note, let him watch this video, and hopefully one menu at a time, Tom can make some steps forward. And, it's not that certain foods are just okay. The salmon, farm salmon, is without a doubt the most toxic food. It is a detriment, massive detriment to our environment, to our health, to the salmon's health. This is why they're all dying. To the lobsters and all this other fish, the wild fish that are in the areas. It's a detriment to all of this. It's a huge detriment. And salmon farming, open pen net salmon farming, should be banned. And certain countries are banning it. Argentina banned it. Washington State stopped open pen net farming. British Columbia is getting the farms out one by one when their leases expire, because they've seen what's happened. They've devastated the wild stock of fish, the quality of the water there. It's been a terrible situation, and this is happening in every salmon farmed area in the world. Wherever they're farming salmon, this is what's happening. So it's no exception. So we all got to stand up and say no more farmed salmon, and that's why I'm sort of picking on Tom here a little bit, because Tom should know that, and Tom should be leading the way as an influential chef. All right, folks, have a great day.